Hey everybody, it's Sarah from Misadventure Pants, and I am here tonight live with you to answer a reader question, which, by the way, is one of my favorite things to answer. Send me all your questions. Send me on Facebook, DM me on Instagram. I love these reader questions, and I especially love the one tonight, and I will read it to you. This comes from Kara in Denver. Yeah, Colorado girls are the best. And of course, she asked an awesome question. It says, hey, are you a rock climber by any chance? My question is, how does someone who is brand new even begin to get outside? I've got the fitness and hiking stuff down, and I really want to get out and learn rock climbing. I know that a climbing gym, and I know I am joining a climbing gym, and practicing there will be my first step. But how do you take these skills and be able to get outdoors with them? And not bouldering, but with a climbing rope. Hey, Jenna. So I love this question, and straight up full disclosure, I am a rock climber. I climb outside. I climb alpine style. A lot of times in mountaineering, you have to climb pitches to get where you want to go. I will also tell you, rock climbing is my weakest discipline, probably. I don't lead. I definitely don't lead trad. I will do like a super easy sport climb. I will follow on an easy pitch, and I will belay a leader. So I think I can answer your question and get you outside, and then you're gonna probably meet, hopefully through these tips I give you, some amazing people who are going to be able to really take you to the next level, because you sound like you're totally enthusiastic, and you'll probably be one of those girls that's trad climbing in like 18 months. But yeah, so some tips. I think the first thing when you're getting started with rock climbing to remember is that it's so important to understand how to discern who is climbing safely, what is safe, and what is not safe, to be able to spot practices that aren't safe. Because, you know, and when you're making climbing friends and just starting to get out there, you're going to be meeting a lot of new people, and you have to know who it's safe to climb with. And I mean, let's be honest, I think anyone who climbs knows that we go to the crag and we see a lot of practices that, you know, probably aren't really safe. So how do you do that? Like, how do you get a really good safety education? Hey, Robert. Jenna and Robert, I think you guys rock climb. So if you have any tips for Kara and Joe, hi, Joe, please jump on and comment. I'll try to remember to check those before I go. So how do you really get a really good safety education? And I think one of the best things you can do is take a course and learn from really qualified people. So maybe that's taking a course at your rock gym, taking a course at your local regional mountain club. I know Colorado Mountain Club, we have tons of, Robert says, we do. I know, Colorado Mountain Club, we have a lot of programs that can teach you how to rock climb, and they're super, super safe, very experienced, qualified people. Another place people learn around here is REI. REI actually has like AMGA certified guides. AMGA is kind of the gold standard for rock climbing instruction. People who have that certification are generally going to be super, super safe. And another place that people learn around here is by going through a guide service. Or that people can learn anywhere, rock climbing, is by going through a guide service. So around here, people go to Colorado Mountain School. If you're up in the Pacific Northwest, maybe you go to RMI, just whatever is local to you. But just make sure you get someone, hey Paula, you get someone who is teaching you that is very well qualified, knows how to teach, and knows how to teach you how to be safe. So getting qualified instruction, that would definitely be my first tip. And you might be asking yourself, you know, what do I learn? What kind of courses can I take? So kind of what I kind of picture your journey looking like, if you're really serious about climbing outside, is, Aaron Thompson says, American Alpine Club has a lot of mentors that can also teach by working together. Aaron, thank you so much. That is an awesome tip. And I probably should mention American Alpine Club right here in Denver, where Kara is, which is a really excellent organization, and they're very into climbing. She says, learn your knots. So yeah, you're going to start with things like learning your knots, your basic rock climbing instruction. Another thing to learn is anchors, especially if you're going to be outside. You're going to have to make sure you can safely secure your rope. That might be to bolts, that might be to natural features like a tree. That might be like building your own anchors with Pro as you get more advanced, but knowing how to make a rock climbing anchor is very important. Learning to rappel. This isn't so important when you're first starting out for single pitch, but it's a good thing to start practicing as soon as you can. A lot of times the way that you're going to descend from your multi-pitch climbs is by rappelling, and it's also just a lot of fun to rappel. You can do it just out at the crag for fun if you want to, so definitely recommend that. As you're moving into multi-pitch climbing, it's really, really important. Take a rock rescue class. It's so fun. It's so interesting. And there are just a lot of scenarios where you're going to need to be able to, for example, escape your belay if you have a climber who is injured or incapacitated and you can't lower them on your own. And tie knots at the end of your rope, Robert says. You don't want to belay off the rappel, off the rope. Oh my gosh, that's my worst nightmare every time I think of that. So, taking rock rescue is really, really important before you start your multi-pitch. And then, I know some clubs offer specific seconding classes. If you want to go out and you want to climb a multi-pitch, but you don't want to be the person leading, that's totally cool. Like I said, I don't lead, but definitely learn how to be a good second. Learn how to belay your belayers safely, learn how to clean the pitch, which involves taking out the protection, learn how to come up and attach yourself to the anchor so that you're being a safe partner for the leader, and kind of learn what your tasks are. And then kind of the final thing that people learn is trad climbing, and that's where you're actually I think I skipped sport climbing. Kind of sport climbing's when you're climbing, you're leading, but you're clipping into bolts instead of protection that you place, and that's kind of a nice transition from when you're top roping to trad climbing. That's the way a lot of people gain confidence, and it's also just very enjoyable. And you can do like multi-pitch sport routes. There's lots of things you can do with them. Lots of them in Colorado for you, Kara. And then trad climbing is kind of the final piece where you put it all together and you actually place your own pro. When you're going up and you're putting in things like cams, nuts, and that's a pretty advanced skill, and some people take many years to get there, and some people get there in like a year or 2 years. It just really depends a lot on how much you climb and how confident you feel, and definitely there are classes that can teach you how to do that as well. So that's kind of the journey that I think most people go on. Some people might mix up some of those steps or some of those skills, but those are going to be, the things that you're going to want to learn. Couple tips for you as you're going along, things that didn't necessarily make sense to me when I started out, but do now. Definitely do things by the book, especially when they're teaching you safety rules. A lot of the things that you learn in the early days may seem a little bit silly and overly, I don't know, what's the word, like you're being almost too safe. So things, for example, like, yelling the name before your commands, like, Jennifer, are you on belay? Or Kara, lower me when you're ready. And that just seems silly when you're in the gym, but believe me, when you're out doing multi-pitch or belaying a leader and they're so far ahead of you, or if you're at a very busy crag in the outdoors, that name really makes a big difference. So, the safety rules, practice them as if you're gonna, you may be in the gym just climbing with your friend, but try to practice your safety rules as if you were climbing like a multi-pitch climb. I mean, it's just gonna help you remember once you reach that level. Let's see. Meeting new people. Once you have some basic instruction and you know how to rock climb, and it's a lot of fun to go out and climb with other people. There are many places you can meet them. Your rock climbing classes will be a great place. You know exactly what kind of instruction those people have. Some of the clubs that have been mentioned in the comments, CMC, American Alpine Club, would be great for Kara here in Colorado. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, things like the Mazamas and the Mountaineers are really great. Regional outdoor clubs, a great place to meet folks. I've noticed a lot of meetups lately that have climbing meetups, and I think that's fun, that's fine. That's the place where I would be super careful and just really assessing people's skills. Hey Joe. And assessing people's skills and really getting to know them, maybe going to some indoor climbing where it's a bit more, you know, you can really see how they operate and how safety conscious they are before you go outside with them. Just to remember, you're literally putting your life in these people's hands, and at meetup everyone's a stranger, so it's really important just to, you know, have your safety radar way up and just really make really sure that you really want to climb with someone before you agree to go outside with them, and don't feel like you're being heavy or you're being a meanie. There's so many, if you ask like any experienced climber, they usually will tell you they're very particular about who they climb with. Thank you. Let's see, what else did I want to talk to you about? So we talked about meeting people. I wanted to add a couple tips for women. I think it's so exciting, Kara, that you are a woman getting into climbing. And I think in a lot of ways it's still a very male-dominated sport, and we face kind of some unique challenges, some of them, you know, created by ourselves. And I think a good example is that, you know, as women, we, just like men and like anyone, we need to repeat our skills and get lots of practice with things like building anchors, for example, or leading pitches. If you're going to be a leader, you just need a lot of time. And I think sometimes our tendency as women, I know maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but, you know, men love to set the anchor, men love to help out, men love to use their skills, and sometimes I tend to just be like, oh, you know, that's great, you go and do it. But, you know, then I think what happens sometimes is we lose our edge and we don't get the practice we need. So I guess my number one tip for women would be like, really step up. You don't need to ask, you don't need to apologize, you just be like, hey, I'm gonna go up and set the anchor, be right down, or hey, I'm gonna lead this one. And as long as, you know, your partner is cool with that, then go ahead and lead on. Hey Ted. And just, you know, really make sure that you are, you know, being the equal partner and getting in the same practice time as anyone else would, because you need it and it's important, and also because you're going to really love doing this stuff, and, you know, you should have the same opportunity to do it as anyone else would. So, yeah. Those are my tips on learning to rock climb. I'm going to actually look through the comments because I saw a bunch of good ones, and you're going to get a close-up of my face because I am my very sunburned face because my tripod is broken. So, so Erin mentioned American Alpine Club and their mentorship program. That's awesome. Definitely look that up. Let's see. She also mentioned Colorado Mountain Club has a class on anchor building. I've actually taken that class, Erin. It's fantastic. Craig Lubbin and John Long's book on anchors was hugely helpful. And they're following the AMJA safety information. Hey Joe, and Joe says, I'm ready to transition outside, probably taking a class with some climbing outfits at Smith Rock. That's awesome, Joe. So yeah, I hope you watch the video and hopefully find something interesting here. I'm gonna mention, before I go, you know I'm going to mention me and Fox in the Forest, who's another blogger. If you are an outdoor woman who's just really interested in coming into your own, becoming a leader, becoming very independent in your skills, we've written a book. It's called Lady Dirtbag's Guide to Freedom. It's all about women becoming independent in the wilderness. It does focus on backpacking more than rock climbing, but I think, you know, if you're an outdoor woman, then I think a lot of these skills transfer. And if you want to check it out, I will definitely drop a link in the comments. And it also makes a great gift. I know a lot of people on here are already like awesome backpackers, awesome outdoors people, but maybe you know a woman who is just getting into it, or she's just building up the confidence to get into it. So definitely encourage you to check it out, tag her, buy a copy for her if you think she might like it. And yeah, other than that, I will leave you guys to have a great evening. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. And thanks for all the great comments. These are just amazing tips. Couldn't have said it better myself. So Kara, hope you have a great time climbing outside. And to everybody else, have a great night. Bye.